Made my mom my maid of honor to bring us closer, but she hated my friends, ruined my bachelorette party, and didn't show up to my wedding. Now only text me to pay her phone bills. So a few months back I had a bachelorette trip to Puerto Rico. 2 of my bridesmaids were able to go, and my mother and sister came as well. I asked my mom to be the maid of honor since I thought it would help create a closer bond between us. Getting ready for my wedding, my whole goal was to have everyone get along and just have a good time. I should have known this was going to be a disaster. A couple of weeks before, my mother started bashing all of my bridesmaids/friends. She was particularly focused on one that was actually going on the trip. I ended up paying for my mom, sister, and my own flight to help the burden of my mom having to pay for both her and my sister. The plan was my mother was going to pay for her and my sister's hotel. My friend reached out to everyone to try and plan something for me without me getting involved. I would like to add that I planned the bachelorette trip as the bride. When my friend reached out to my mom and called her, she wanted to help as much as she can. My friend is actually Puerto Rican, so she was going to be a huge help with this trip. At the time, I did not know about this call. My mother called me at 3 am after having that call with my friend that day to tell me she has not been doing her maid of honor duties because she was observing everyone and everything. She then said, as the maid of honor, she should be planning the bachelorette trip. I found this conversation odd, but I said okay. I was relieved that she finally stepped up to help me with the trip. My mom did say before the call ended to not tell my friend she talked to me about this, which I did find odd as well. The next day, my friend called me and told me that she wanted to make sure that I had a great bachelorette, that to remember it is all about me. She wanted to help me with the excursions I wanted to do, and I told her my mom wanted to plan as well so they could work together. I saw my mother the next day and she went on a rant that my friend was disrespectful and said she was not letting a little girl control her on this trip and made it seem like something was wrong with my friend and how she did not want to wear her stupid t-shirts during the trip. She started raging and telling me she doesn't want to go in the rental car with my friend and wants to take an Uber. Her words, "Your friend is disrespectful and I will beat this bitch ass." This automatically started stressing me out. She said she didn't like my friend and she was disrespectful and has mental issues. I ended up calling my friend and asking her if she could cancel the rental and she said she could not. I created a group chat for the ones attending the trip, and my friend was asking questions about why activities we were going to do and how excited she was, and my mom and sister was instantly annoyed. My mom was supposed to plan the activities that we were going to do in Puerto Rico. She refused to let my friend do it or participate in helping, and again, my friend is Puerto Rican. Fast forward to the first day of the bachelorette trip. When we arrived, my mom's luggage was missing that at all of her toiletries. She was upset about it. When we got to the hotel, I let everyone rest since it was an early flight. My friend got there a little later in the day and I met up with her and my other friend in the lobby. I called my mom and sister to meet us downstairs and so we could go with them to replace the toiletries that were lost and to have dinner. As me and my 2 friends were waiting, my mom came downstairs and stood behind my Puerto Rican friend and said hi to her, so low that she could not hear her. I hinted to her that my mom was standing over and behind her while she was sitting on the lobby couch, which I thought was weird. She turned around and said hello. My mom instantly just said okay, I'm leaving, now go be with your friends. She literally ran off. My sister did not say a word. When I tell you, the energy was so off you can cut the tension in the air with a knife. I asked my friend what was going on with her and my mom, because something just felt really off. She told me she did not really know her, so she did not understand why. I decided to just go to the bar with my friends and wait for my mom and sister to get back. 5 minutes later, I get a text from my mom saying, "Shame on you. You betrayed your family. You chosen nobody over your own family. I am disappointed, and your sister and I are out of the wedding." I responded and said that I did not and asked what the problem was. I was then ignored. I started crying hysterically because I did not want my bachelorette to be like this. My friends tried to cheer me up and took me out to dinner. I decided to let things cool off and try to smooth things over. In the morning, with my mom and sister, I went to my mom and sister's room and knocked on the door several times and kept going back to knock on the door. I also called each of them and no answer. I even waited around the lobby to see if I ran into them, and nothing. I called both of them again later in the afternoon and finally my sister picked up. I asked if they were okay and if we can squash whatever happened and move forward with the plans. I asked why they did not answer me for hours, and they said they were sleeping, which I knew was a lie because I heard someone look through the peephole when I knocked earlier. My sister said they are not doing any of the activities that I wanted to do, and that they were having lunch and would not tell me where they were. I felt like shit. My mom planned nothing that she said she was going to plan. My friend even texted and reached out to my mom and apologized for whatever my mom thought she did and called, and my mom did not answer. My friend scrambled and tried to make the best of the rest of the trip for me while my mom and sister was MIA. The day before we had to leave and go home, my sister reached out to get their plane tickets, which I purchased. I sent it to them and was immediately upset. My mom asked me to put my credit card down for her in my sister's hotel and said she would pay me back. I honestly think that she had no intention of paying me back because she is my mother. They ignored me during the entire trip and now demanded their plane tickets. I decided to change my flight and leave earlier. I couldn't sit on the plane with my mom and sister and act like this was normal. My sister called and asked if I was going to get an Uber to the airport, and I told her no, I have a different flight. My mom finally appeared and called me and said so many hurtful things. My mom told me I was always disloyal, how I interpreted everything wrong, I overthink, I don't care about her and my sister. How I was feeling is wrong, and called me liar and hung up in my face. My friend started to tell me about the phone conversation that she had with my mom prior. She didn't want to tell me out of respect for my mother, because my mom asked her not to tell me about the phone conversation. My friend said, my mom was talking badly about me, my fiancé family, and how I was planning my wedding. My friend was put in this awkward position. Ever since that trip, I have not spoken to my mom or sister, and they did not show up to my wedding. I only get a text from my sister to tell me to pay both her and my mom's phone bill once a month, and that is it. Comments deleted. My eyebrows rose when your mom called your friend a little girl. Those are big words from someone who allegedly needed their trip paid for. Are you cutting them off financially? It's okay if you do. They don't treat you with love and care, so why should they receive it from you? Anomaly 19 up. I plan on cutting them off. The only thing left to cut off is this phone bill situation. I am nervous about doing it because it is going to create more conflict that I don't need deleted, and I got you. Send them a text and/or registered mail stating that you will no longer pay their cell phone bills as of date. Then mute them on your phone in case they type anything incriminating and you need it for evidence, and block them on social media. Get cameras for your property. Don't answer the door if they stop by, call the cops if they escalate. They can't cause conflict if you're avoiding them. Anomaly 19 op. Thanks for the advice, excellent _ at 1132. You tried your best, and so did your friend and your posse egg donor and shit sister ruined it. It is time to cut them off for a long while, at least until you forget how they treated you and gaslight yourself into thinking it wasn't that bad. But for now, cut them off and do not pay for their phone bill. Since you are not family to them, why would you pay for anything of theirs? They already had you pay for the trip and their hotel stay, so I would say you were done with their crap. Content _ a great _ grammar. Your mother totally ignored the fact that the bachelorette party was about you and not her. Did I miss something? Why would you pay their phone bills at all? Anomaly 19 up. Something I've been doing for 10 years since I was in college. My mother made that my responsibility when I was living with her and going to school. It was a real struggle to do when I was in college. She never took that responsibility back. Content _ great _ grammar. As others suggested, it is time to stop paying her bill. Just tell her that you will deduct the cost from hers and sister's airfare since she absolutely ruined your bachelorette trip. I hope your wedding was all you wanted it to be without the drama twins, and you and hubby have many years of happiness. Update. Thank you all for the advice, commentary, and inputs. I wanted to follow up on the original post that I posted. So far, I have gone no contact with my mother and sister. I ended up getting a new phone line and phone number. I texted my sister to let her know I will no longer be paying for her or my mother's phone bill anymore. I then cut off that phone and moved on with my new phone line. I blocked and removed them from all social media as well. Once I did that, my mother decided to appear and attempt to call me at my job, stating that there was an emergency and she needed to speak with me. I told my colleague that I would not be answering the phone and there is no emergency, and to not answer my work phone line if she does call. After that, she has not made any more attempts. I believe she tried to call to bully me into paying their phone bill and try to do the guilt trip and shame me like she attempted to do on my bachelorette trip, but I was not falling for it. I also cut off my sister's Apple Music, which I know she would be pissed about. It all felt good. I also found out that my mother added her husband's phone installment plan to the bill a year ago without telling me, and that literally pushed me over the edge. I didn't notice it because it was an installment plan that only brought the bill up $35. That $35 a month adds up over time. This added up to me paying $500 for it before I cut everything off. I mean, who has their daughter paying for their husband's brand new iPhone 14? How does anyone sit there comfortable doing that to their own daughter? This I will never understand. It has been 7 months so far since I decided to go no contact. I can say that my life has been more peaceful with no drama. It has brought me and my husband closer together. I can truly say I am happy and starting to get back to being me again. My relationship with my mom and sister was toxic and put me in a really dark place. Everything that happened during that trip has opened my eyes, and I am looking forward to better things, and I plan on redoing my bachelorette trip the right way. Comments Texas 1. I could have written this. I'm on month 4 of NC with mom and sister. Life is peaceful and drama-free. Anomaly 19 up. You had issues with both? What made you make that decision? Texas 1. My sister is an avid COVID denier and believes that Democrats hook rape children to a machine to steal their adrenaline. Dumber than a rock, she involved family members and that nonsense online and refused to apologize. It was last straw to me. She can't be around my family/kids. Mother took up for her keyboard warrior daughter, who has sponged off her for almost 10 years now. That's the very short version, and I should have cut them off 30 years ago. My life would have been more peaceful and less embarrassing. Peter 095837. I will never jeopardize the beans. Life can be more peaceful and easier once you cut off people who are massively entitled and terrible cause. Damn, this mother really is full of entitlement, manipulation, and bigotry. I never met entitled people before, but I can't imagine how I would respond if I ever deal with one. Good for up at the end of the day. Thumbelina 1234. I've cut off my mother and it was the best decision in my life. I should have done it sooner, but it's better late than never. Gwynison asked my mom to be the maid of honor since I thought it would help create a closer bond between us. Getting ready for my wedding. Oh, I just knew from this the rest was going to be a tire fire. Mabel_Waddles_BFF Directo Patronum. Mum was absolutely being a pill before this. A hoop asked her to be the mo in the hope it would rein in her behaviors. August C. Since I thought it would help create a closer bond between us, and that was the red flag that told me that they were not close at all. Watch in Fern. It's like asking someone who you meet on the train to be your maid of honor because you want to be their friend. But worse, Willie J. Wade. One of my cousins had a near-complete stranger as a groomsman cause his wife wanted an even wedding party. So while they were renting the suits, a dude had in there getting his son measured for prom, and my cousin was talking to him and just invited him to be a groomsman. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Fiancé yelled at me on my graduation day, cancelled our wedding a week before over a small fight, and told guests the wedding was called off. Now he's begging me to get back together. So my ex-fiancé M30 has cancelled our F30 wedding a week before it taking place. We've been together for about 6 years and lived together. For context. What happened basically was an argument that escalated. We were heading to my program graduation. It's a smaller event of about 10 students and some professors from a community college. On that morning, as we were getting ready, I asked if he would be okay to wear one of his button-ups instead of the shirt he had on so we can get a nice photo. He was annoyed and snapped, saying, "Why do I have to do things for others?" And I told him that he truly doesn't have to. I was just asking, but it's ultimately his choice. He ended up putting the button up and we arrived at the ceremony. Everything went fine and he was very happy for me. However, on the way home in the car, traffic was filling up and he was annoyed. I offered an alternative route that I know cut some time, and the exit to that route was coming up. He didn't take it, and I was slightly annoyed about it because he was cranky with me about traffic, so I asked why he didn't take it. He started full-on yelling that my tone is rude and that he doesn't have to drive the way I tell him to. I replied, saying that I literally just asked, and I don't actually care what route he takes. He was the one having a problem with traffic. He blew up and blamed me for getting him upset. When we got home, I apologized and explained that I didn't mean to come across as me. I also said that screaming doesn't help in any situation and that we should talk instead. He basically explained that an apology doesn't solve anything, and that he needs such things to not happen, otherwise he would continue exploding at me because that's the only time I listened to him. After a few hours, we spoke again. He apologized for yelling, and I apologized for the miscommunication that happened. Despite resolving this, later that night, I was crying to the fact that he so easily yells at me when he's upset. I was so upset that, even on such an important day for me, I felt like he picked fights, and to add to this, yelling is such a red flag for me, and I never do that to him or anyone for that matter. The next morning, we were having breakfast and he asked why I seemed gloomy, so I told him that everything's okay. I'm just processing what happened yesterday. He asked me to please share with him, so I told him that I felt like my special day was kind of ruined by fighting about things we could have easily resolved. He immediately just flipped and started getting angry again. He blamed me for the fights, and when I replied that I don't think it's fair to blame me, he got angrier and said that he can't do this, that I'm not a good communicator, and that he cannot get married like this. I was full-on shocked. I thought he was talking out of emotion like many times before, but this time he actually ended up sending a mass text to some guests to let them know that the wedding is called off. I was flabbergasted at the quickness and so confused. We started arguing and then had to leave for our days. Later that day, when we returned, I asked if this is truly something he wants to call everything off, and he responded with a confident yes. What I thought was an action out of anger seemed to be solid for him. For the rest of the night and the next day, I tried to fix things between us. After many hours of talking and lots of crying for my end, he kept explaining that I don't communicate well and that this cancellation my fault. I tried to offer some solutions, but he was full on with the decision to cancel and break up. I asked if we could give it another day or two to ensure this is what he wants before we can till the venue. He declined and asked to cancel the venue and vendors immediately, so we did. The next day, I went on errands and then met with my friend. It was truly such a hard day and I was heartbroken, still digesting this is happening. When I came home, he asked to talk and started crying that he regrets everything he said in the last days, that he didn't mean it, he was angry and didn't think straight. He said he will start therapy and wanted to do couples counseling now too, after I offered it many times. Anyway, he apologized profusely and kept asking if we can mend everything or whether he fucked up. I was almost sure this regret would come, and honestly, maybe it was mean, but I said, yeah, you fucked up big time. You made a rash decision that hurt our relationship big time. There's no going back from here. He pretty much begged for another chance, but everything is cancelled and my trust is shattered. The wedding's supposed to be in 2 days, his aunt was supposed to be on the way to our house to help us pack decorations, and now there's no way we can schedule everything again, and frankly, I don't want it at this point. This is not the first he cancels plans or breaks up with me during a disagreement. Everyone is telling us that this is fixable, that see we love each other, so if we want this situation doesn't have to be the end of the relationship. But I don't understand how so much time, effort, and money has gone into this wedding that's now done, and plus more importantly, I can't trust him anymore. I don't know what to do at this point. We were supposed to go on honeymoon right after, so now I'm thinking on going by myself. He asked if we can go together and spend the time to fix things, but I'm just questioning everything. I think I prefer going myself to do some soul searching. Should I call this quits and move on with my life or take his word and start couples counseling? I love him with my entire heart, and we had many loving experiences between us over the years. We don't have any issues aside from such incidents. But I don't know whether it's actually possible to come back from this one. Thoughts, advice, comments, did the Fabritier like? He yells at the drop of a hat. If he's annoyed by traffic, it's her fault. If she suggests her route home, he gets angry. He asks her why she's gloomy, and as soon as she answers, his immediate reaction, like a toddler, is to just crack it. And then he has the stones to say she isn't communicating. I mean, there's gaslighting and then there's actually setting your partner on fire like this pine cone. Go on that honeymoon without him, or send him on it and use the time to pack your stuff and move out. This is not a person worth fighting for. You've just been given a get out of jail free card, take it and run. Cuteness aggression. He breaks up with you when you fight. That's not stable or healthy. I would recommend moving on from the relationship and finding one with someone who won't hold the relationship hostage every time you have an issue. You'll be amazed once you move on how much better a healthy relationship will be for you. Update. Thanks to everyone for the comments and support. Since all this happened, he apologized profusely and offered to return the venue and still go and get married on the same day. He also offered couples counseling starting now and right after we get married if I still want to. Additionally, he offered to go on the trip together to fix things. I declined to everything since the damage has been done, and I've decided to go on the honeymoon myself. While he packs all his items, he's going to start his own therapy journey while we're broken up. I don't know what's next, but this hurts so much because we still love each other. He's going to work on his mental health to address the impulsive actions when he's upset. He also realized it wasn't actually a communication issue, but rather how he felt attacked due to his own confidence. I appreciate his honesty, but can't see how it's possible to forgive what happened foreign between trying couples counseling, since he seems genuine to completely separating comments is food move on counter your blessings that you didn't get married to this person. As a hard rule, if a guy loses his temper for ridiculous reasons and keeps walking away, breaking up or Jesus canceling a wedding by texting guests before you've even finished discussing it. That's not husband material. He saved you a world of heartache. Move on. Choice intention 926. Call it quits. He does things with the intention of hurting you or making you sad. I don't know where his resentment is coming from, but frankly, that's on him to figure out. He will deliberately hurt you in the future if you stay. He's not marriage material. He shouldn't be the father of your children, because this behavior will escalate once kids are involved. Realistic Airport 775. A healthy relationship is trust, honesty, respect, and open communication. As a start, I can't trust him anymore. Your words feel like a true statement. Love is not enough. You are correct that he needs help, and it is likely better to do it without the extra pressure of a relationship, a long break, say 6 months, to really show he is able to work on himself, set goals, etc. At least set yourself free of being screamed at. That is also a choice you can make.